Hi everyone and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This episode is all about the 2024 Shimano Glenelg Hopkins CMA Bream Classic. It's a big mouthful. This was held on the Hopkins River in Warrnambool back on the 15th and 16th of June in 2024. Now this was a great little competition with some pretty tough fishing, but a couple of great results and unfortunately a little bit of a sad, quite a lot of a sad twist at the end. So anyway, I'm going to roll the intro and I'm going to tell you all about what's going on and bring this one to you. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
Okay, so with this one, like I said, it was a really good round in terms of good results, a bit of tough fishing. The sad part of this is, unfortunately, it was Barry Thomas's last comp here, even though he got a great result. And look, I've spoken to a few guys from down there and there's a lot of people hurting. So very sincere condolences to the family and friends and hang in there, guys. And yeah, I kind of feel you. All right, let's move into it. A couple of things. So let's start with the Graham Taylor Memorial Trophy with a back-to-back win went to Team Richardson, Marine Tackle Shack, Corey McLaren and Adam Brown, who weighed the biggest bag on day two of 2.915 kilos. The Sunline best bag went to Team Dyer, which was Jesse Roten and Kate Callow, where they had a big bag of 5 fish for 3.34 kilos. And the Eco Gear Big Bream went to Team Anger Management, Michael Crane and Adam Bickery, who weighed a great bream of 1.395. Now, the Zip Baits Monster Mover prize went to Team Keep On Casting, who weighed a great bag of on day two of 4 out of 5 bream for 2.02 kilos, moving them 27 places to finish in 17th. Now, the Shimano Junior Angler prize went to Ollie Sharp from Team Keep On Casting, who finished in second place. And the Miller Rogue Big Perch prize went to Team Richardson Marine, Tackle Shack, Corey McLaren and Adam Brown, who caught a perch that weighed 0.785 of a kilo. All right, so that's all the fishing stats for the moment. Let's do the tides and what have you, and we'll start to get into it. Here we go. So Saturday was really low in the fish activity wheel, just 16, with a major bite period at 5:43 through to 8:13. The minor bite period was 12:22 to 1:52 p.m. The low tide was 8:54 a.m. at 0.57, with a high tide at 4:14 p.m. at 0.94. On the Sunday, slightly better in the fish activity wheel, which it showed in the results a little bit maybe. 27 in the fish activity wheel, major bite period at 6:22 through to 8:52, with a minor bite period just in the back end of the session at 12:43 p.m. through to 2:13 p.m. High tide was at 7:11 at 0.8. 0.68. Low tide was at 9:15 at 0.67. with a high tide at 4:19 p.m. at 0.89. These ones always confuse me, but that's what it said. All right. So the final thing before we get into the angler interviews is the Bream Fishing Project Collective. So if you've not become part of this and you want to upskill your bream fishing, I think this is a great place to start. And while this little program is just in its infancy, as time goes on, I think it's going to be a major resource for anyone that really wants to crack the code in terms of catching bream. Anyway, best way to find out what it is jump on and have a look at it. So breamfishingproject.supercast.com, and that'll get you in. You can sign up there and become part of the fun. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the angler interviews. A special thanks here to Stuart McKinnon for coming on for what was a pretty tough interview. And anyway, I appreciate him coming on. So here we go. Righto. So up first in third place, I have a team Old Codgers. They dropped 5 fish for 2.765 on the Saturday. Backed it up on Sunday with just 4 fish for 2.175, giving them a total of 4.94. And a third place with me, I've got Stuart McKinnon. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks, mate. How are you going?
Mate, I am going all right. Look, I really appreciate you coming on. Like we said in the last episode, a little bit of a tough one with Barry passing since that competition, but made a good memory there for coming in third place.
Yeah, look, it was good. I had a great time at Barry again. We had to fish out the Evolution this time because beloved Scooter was in dry dock. Yeah, we made the most of it. The weather wasn't particularly kind, but look, all in all, we had a great fish, great time as per normal, and yeah, and shit on all the rest of the competitors as I do to enlighten my day.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's interesting. Obviously, the field struggled with only one full bag, but the 9 fish was good enough to get you into third place, which was pretty good.
Yeah, look, day one, I hadn't fished it for probably 6 or 12 months, and just time's been a bit of a problem for me of late with work, but Barry had been out and fished it 3 weeks beforehand, and we had a bit of an idea the fish were up higher, so we launched down the bottom and got right through that what they call the pass, which is above Jubilee Park, and snuck up into the few of the banks there, and on the pre-fish it just got, there was nothing exciting, but we got 3 fish, 4 fish maybe, I think it was, and we knocked off about 11 o'clock, said, right, we've got a bit of a plan, I had stuff to do, and day one come up, so yeah, basically same thing, went up there, copy and paste, went up through there, and Declan and a few other guys were up through that way, and they moved onto a bank, and we just sort of come in where they'd fished. They sort of around us and went off, and I picked up 2 pretty much straight away on the Berkeley gulps in the grubs, the 3-inch grubs. Then moved up a bit further, and Barry picked one up on I can't remember what it was now. It's a little while ago, as you know. So, but most of the fish were definitely at different, all plastics at the time, and it's just getting the weight right as per normal and just matching the hatch and the colours. I think he was using 2-inch Z-Mans, motor oils.
Z-Mans, okay.
Yeah, and with the S-Factor scent on them. So got the weights right, and we sort of got our fish fairly early on day one and upgraded. Not they weren't particularly big fish, but, we upgraded a couple of times, and we had a great day.
Yeah, and mate, what sort of structure were you fishing?
Look, it's all different sort of structure there. You've got a couple of rocky banks into reedy banks, into a mud drop-off type bank with reeds, and then we went right up to the trim stones, which is where the fresh basically meets the salt, and it's big bluestone boulders, and we fished up on that, which I think we got 2 fish off that upgraders on that one. So yeah, that was going to be a bit of our plan for day 2. So yeah, just moved around, and there's a few other guys fishing. There's a big big school of fish, which Corey and Adam Brown were fishing on just as we head in towards this Turum Stones. And I thought, well, it's their fish. We just sort of moved around and we went up along the bank and got 2 or 3 along there again. We had a great time, actually.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you look at the bags, and there was only, I think, 5 full bags, maybe 4 full bags on the Saturday, and you got one of them plus upgrades, so you've done pretty well.
Yeah, well, it was a good bite, but a lot of little rats, like a lot of 25 centimetre, 20 centimetre stuff, like just little stuff, and especially on the stones, like just unweighted plastics, just letting drift down over the slow water current was there, and just picking them up, and there was little fish. I kept the day ticking over and kept them up high. Like, just that place could be, 20 little ones, and bang, there's a 1.5 or a 1.8. You just don't know. You just have to keep at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like you said, the getting the weights right was probably key to getting the bite, which might have been the difference with you guys.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of other guys fish down the lower river. It's that time of year, I just don't know. The old hoppies can be a bit hit and miss down there with that many boats on it. And so I thought, well, we'll get up away from the traffic and everybody and just do what we do. And we had a crack at that. We were lucky it worked for us that time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Look, it looks like, from what I can see here, it might have been in 4th overnight.
Well, I thought we were 3rd. But anyway, look, I can't honestly...
Oh, it might have been 3rd.
Yeah. 3rd or 2nd? No, it might have been 3rd. Look, honestly, Andrew, I'm really not sure. I said it's 5 months ago.
It's a few months back. Yeah, it's a few months back. Anyway, all right. Well, either way, mate, coming into the Sunday, what was your plan there?
Plan was just to go back up through to the stones and just tackle them with the same stuff we had, just lightly weighted plastics, patience, and just look, we know the fish are there, you just got to see what turns them on. We went straight to the stones, day 2, straight past everyone, straight up to the stones, and I reckon I got 15 or 20 fish in as many casts, but all little rats. And I thought, oh, we've got to pull a big one out of here, and sort of nothing. So we moved to the other side of the stones, and I picked up, I think it was the better fish we had today. I think it was probably only 680 grams. It wasn't a particularly big fish, but it was the biggest one we had for the day. And when it was peppered, we just went along the banks there, and there's an old hut there. I flicked one under the hut and peeled them out in a camo prawn. Then Adam and Cora away from me, they said the bite had gone quiet. I flicked out a vibe and ripped the vibe, and bang, got another one. I thought, you beauty. And then got another fish for an hour, and went back to the stones, and I think I pulled another one, and so I had 4, and that was about where it ended for the day. Poor Barry couldn't take a trick. He was getting hit hooks and strikes, and they were coming off, and just look, that's what happens with fishing. Someone has a good day, someone has a bad day. And occasionally you both have a good day, which was, luckily enough, was at us at Nelson. So we were due for a bad one.
Yeah, and look, you got 4, and in the context of the day, the 4 wasn't a bad number, considering what the other teams got. So
yeah, look, we had the 5th one, and it was, we looked at one side, it was 25, and it was 24 and 3/4, and oh, geez, nah. Anyway, hindsight, we should have probably kept it and would have had our 5, but yeah, I'm happy with 4. You can't be too greedy. You can't win it all the time.
No. Well, like you had a good start to the year. And I think it looks like you were about 560 grams behind. So it probably wouldn't have got you there on Just Legal. So
No, it wouldn't be. No, they're only 300 gram fish, if that. So, yeah, it was good. A great day. Like, got plenty of bycatch and stuff like that. I got a nice little perch, and I got a big mullet. That was a bit of fun. That took me, I thought, you beauty, got a mull away, but yeah, a big sea run mullet.
Yeah, mullet go hard.
yeah, they go real hard.
They usually get you going.
Yeah. I thought, I was more worried. I thought a mull away. That's what I was more excited about. So, yes, anyway, that got that up and was bitterly disappointed, but at the same time, it filled in 15 minutes.
Yeah. For the competition, what sort of lines and leaders were you running?
I was running 3 pound FG rock.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barry, as I said to you before, Barry runs heavy stuff. He was running 6 pound FC rock, I think. He just fishes heavier than I do. My rods are a little bit softer, so I've got a little bit more forgiveness with the way I fish with the plastics. I know it's different rods for hard bodies and a bit heavier line, but when I fish with the plackies and in that sort of stuff, on the light leaders, I'll run the lighter rod. It just gives you, you just get that little bit more forgiveness if it does go for a bit of a run.
Yeah. And you fish light, I take it just to get the bite sort of set up?
Yeah, I think, that's why I think sometimes when the water is that clear up there, I don't know if they can see it or it's just the way that it sinks through the water column. I haven't 100% worked that one out, but it seems to be a lot of the time, the lighter the line, the more bites. And it's definitely over the years fishing the Tambo and fishing with 2 pounds straight through, but there's guys around, you're not catching a fish and you're catching a fish every second cast. Like, there must be something in it, I imagine.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
I haven't found a particularly good 3 pound that I'm overly confident in. Like, it's always in the back of your mind, oh, God, and then you run the drag a bit loose and they get you back in the snags and, yeah, well, it's fun. It's fishing, not sure it's not called catching, isn't it?
That's exactly right. And look, one of the things I like about the super light lines, it's a competition between you and the fish, like that they really have a chance to get you and vice versa. So,
yep,
get your heart going.
100%. Yeah, that's it. It comes down to the drag and the reels too. Like, I'm a diver man through and through. Although saying that, I've just bought 2 Shimanos for the lighter rods, the thousands, Van Off thousands, and look, I'm really happy with them so far. I've had a good run at Malakuta. We didn't do so well at Malakuta, but they were just nice with the fish we got. And the well was a bit, the whole nice, very light combo to throw all day. That was great actually. No sort of stiff body at the end of the day.
Yeah, nice. I must admit, I do like 1,000 size reels.
Yep.
There's just something that's nice about it. So
yeah, did used to years ago and fishing Nelson when we've been over there for quite a bit and it just getting roasted for some big perch and some big brim over the years. Just went up the next side, so you had a bit more drag, I think it was. And, it was always a chance of a mull away. You went up in the size of your reel in case you hooked a jewie. But now, gone back, just fishing basically for brim and specifically for brim, I think now that, the bycatch of the mulloway is not sort of there like it was.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, mate. I reckon that's a good rundown of the fishing. Mate, that's a while ago. Do you remember what you got to take home?
No, I could 100% not tell you that one. No.
Fair enough.
I reckon it was, let's say it's 750, I think it was, something along those lines.
Those lines. So, yeah, pretty good for a bit of fishing with your mate.
Yeah, it was handy. Yeah, it pays for the next lot of here at the tackle shop.
Yeah, exactly. And usually always goes back through the system.
Oh, unfortunately. But anyway, what else would we do?
Exactly. All right, mate. Look, one more thing before we shoot off, mate. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, or is there anything you want to say before we move on?
Oh, just my partner, I think. Karen. Karen, she's great. She puts up with me and sends me off fishing and tells me to come home and supports me a fair bit. Old mate Barry's not here, of course. And just Bill Hartshorn runs a great job doing the comps in Victoria and stuff like that. So a couple of local guys actually fish the MLF and going to be going to the States in a couple of weeks. So I'm sort of all the best for Declan and Lewis heading over there.
Yeah.
It's been a great experience for them. I'm sort of a bit jealous. Maybe one day I'll get the chance to do that. But look, yeah, Barry and Karen, Barry's missus, she's been great with everything that's happened, and just everyone in the angling clubs and that district and everyone from Vic Bream have been supportive. And yeah, the whole Barry thing was sort of hit a few. It was a bit harder than we ever expected. And as the days have gone by, it's sort of just little things pop up. Bugger that bloke. I fancy doing that to us. So
yeah,
it's just been a bit tough. But now I'm going to fish with Tim Trelaw from Trelaw Fencing in the grand final at Nelson, and I'm hoping he's all pumped and excited as I am to do it.
Oh, very good, mate. Well, I wish you both well. Mate, thank you so much for taking the time for this one and the last one. And yeah, mate, hopefully we get to have a talk to you after that one.
Mate, hope to split you in the grand final. It'll be awesome.
That would be hectic. All right, mate, you have a good night and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, man. Bye.
All right, fishing.com.au, your one-stop brim lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSP Bent Minnows, Z-Man Plastics, Eco Gear Lures, and Daiwa Rods, Reels, and Tackle. Same-day shipping, shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au, online or in-store at shop 18/29, Kiora Road, Miranda. Now, there is a lot going on at fishing.com.au. We have definitely seen stocks of the new prawn out of Pro Lure, so you definitely want to have a look at that. The Hurricane Skimps are in stock and selling like hotcakes, so definitely keep your eyes out for those ones. And finally, by the time this goes to air, you should be seeing stocks of the Daiwa Infeet Monster Rolling Crank Deep Runner. I think this is going to be a super interesting lure. As with the others, I'm super pumped about the about the two others, I guess, the Skimp and the Hurricane Prawn. So jump on fishing.com.au and check it out. Okay, up next in second place, I have Richardson Marine Tackle Shack, dropping 4 fish on the Saturday for 2.585, including a kicker of 915 grams, backing it up on the Sunday with 5 fish for 2.915 and giving them a total of 9 fish for 5.5 kilos even. And second place, I have Corey McLaren. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Andrew. How are you, mate?
Mate, I'm good, mate. Thanks for coming on. Mate, a nice little second place there, and we spoke earlier. Yeah, the 4 on the day one probably just cost you just a little bit there.
Yeah, we've kicked ourselves a few times over these 4 fish bags in the Hopkins, but eventually we'll put it together and we'll put 10 fish for the weekend and hopefully be right up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's telling because obviously the winners were the only team to get 10 fish, and then second and third were the only teams to get 9 fish.
It was pretty close in the end. It was just, putting them in vital bites together and, put 10 in the well, and that was what done it, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And I'm looking forward to getting into that because even though there wasn't a lot of fish for you guys, obviously it was a hard round and you obviously did something right. So let's dive into pre-fish. Did you guys get out and have a crack on the Friday?
Yeah, we had a pre-fish. We probably off the water by about 10 o'clock, 10:30.
Okay.
A lot of people see us go in early and think there's something wrong. But we hate stinging fish, and as I spoke to you earlier, my brain's not very big, so if I've got more than 2 or 3 techniques that I've got to go with, I'm stuffed for the whole weekend. I don't know which one to throw. So
Fair enough.
once we key in on a technique or an area, that's it. We're stuck there for the whole weekend pretty much.
Okay. So obviously on the Friday you did work some sort of pattern out.
Yeah, so we knew there was a big school of fish upriver. Up above Jubilee Park, there's a place called Turum Stones, which is as far as you can fish in the system in a boat. So we found a big school there. It's on a point called Sandy Point there, and it's just the last bend before you get to Turum Stones. And yeah, the Garmin sounder pretty much didn't lie. Once it come across this school of fish, there was blobs everywhere, and it was just too good to move away on. So yeah, we started right in tight, thinking that the school of fish was out deep, whether there's going to be feeding fish on the edges. And I think Brownie's first cast in tight with a gulp grub got one about 750. And then he's cast in again with the same thing and got another one. It was probably 500 or 600. And we were like, oh, yep, this is good. So we moved off that and, snuck out to the deep schools and tried to pluck one out of that. And we got a couple of bumps, but we didn't get any fish off it. So we thought, all right, well, what it's been fishing like. We had a local comp a couple of weeks before and we didn't even land a legal brim in that. So we were pretty pumped to actually see a legal brim, let alone catch one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so once we went from there, we just done our normal thing, went down to Hen and Chickens Reef and fished in there and didn't see a fish in there. Went back to Rowan's Lane and, I think we got maybe one smaller fish out of there. And then we just hopped our way back down and, before we knew it, 10:30 was around and we were ready for home.
That's it. Had enough. Go home, get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, had enough banging our heads on the wall, working out what we're going to do.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's roll around. So I assume you went home and, tidied up all your gear and just get prepared for the next day?
Yeah, we just tied a few leaders and I don't bother tying fresh leaders for pre-fish. We just tie whatever's on.
Yeah.
So, we had every rod to re-rig the night before and, just got ready for the Saturday.
Saturday. All right. Well, let's roll around into Saturday. Give us a bit of a rundown of what you did and how you went about catching your fish.
Yeah, so Saturday we just decided to go up and sort of play numbers up at Turum Stones there and off Sandy Point, and we pulled up and I was surprised that there was only one boat in front of us, and we pulled up on the school and started fishing away, and I think I missed the first 5 or 6 fish. I couldn't feel my hands. It was that cold.
Oh, ouch.
Brownie was telling me that it wasn't that bad, but he wasn't facing into the wind. He was facing away from it. So he had the good draw there. But we got two fish out of that fairly early. And we thought, we're on, like, first 20 minutes we had 2 and we made the stupid decision. I made the stupid call to say, we've got all day to get 3 more. And usually when you say that, you're going to be no good for the rest of the day. But it sort of dried up there completely.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what was going on. They just weren't eating. There was a million salmon up there annoying us. So, so we decided to leave. I think it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock or something like that. Went down river. We fished the Rowan's Lane. Brownie's first cast in there on a Z-Man grub in bloodworm colour.
Okay.
He clunked that 9:15.
Okay, very good.
I reckon there would have been probably 10 boats fished that before we went in there, and for some reason they just wanted this bloodworm.
Yeah, it's interesting how they do that, hey?
Yeah, I think it's just important. Like, if some days we go, oh, no, the boats have already fished that, but I think what people don't realise is once they're zoned into a lure, They just won't eat
Mm.
anything else.
Yeah.
So even if there has been 10 boats fish it, you still got to have a crack because you never know what's there sitting there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was good.
And that was, so you had that on the bloodworm. What do you get the fish out of the school upriver on? Just on gulp?
I got them on Hurricane Sprat 85 in sickle.
Okay. That's
which is like a pale bloodworm colour anyway. So,
okay. And both of you were, so both the early fish came on the Sprat.
yeah, they just, I don't know why they wanted that bigger lure up there, but usually when they're schooled up like that, we fish like a slim swim or something a bit smaller like a Z-Man grub and just annoy them. But yeah, they just wanted the bigger lure for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just fishing them on 1/12 jig heads because it was fairly windy.
Yeah, okay. And do you think the curly tail on those is helpful?
Yeah, I reckon. It's when I first started using them, I thought they were a bit stiff compared to like other plastics made out of that, Laztec material or whatever they call it. But the more I've used them, the more I see it's not as an aggressive grub action. It's more of a subtle grub tail.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I'm fairly confident in them now. Like I've got a heap of them in my tackle bag and yeah, I just use them everywhere now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know the hurricanes in the various forms have done very well in recent times.
Yeah, they've come a long way, haven't they?
They really have. They really have. All right. And actually, one thing I'm curious about. So given that's a bigger lure, were the fish taking it hard or were they pecking at it or how'd that look?
Nah, they were pretty much the only way I could look and see a bite was holding the rod sideways to where I was retrieving it from. And all you'd see is the rod tip just go tap, and that was it.
That was it.
And you couldn't feel it. You'd just see it move, and then you just have to strike. So, like, we're fishing in 4 to 4.5 meters of water in that deep water.
Yep.
So, obviously, in the deeper water, the bites feel a lot less than what they are too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, it was different.
Yeah. But obviously effective, or at least you got a couple out.
Yeah.
All right. And you moved down river, you got the second, or Brownie got the second one. Where'd you end up getting the last fish?
The last one was down in a place they call the Nappies.
Right.
So they're all weird names on the Hopkins, but yeah, it's just down from Deakin University at the end of the ski run there. It's just this big open, shallow flat with some really nice houses above it. And I was talking to my mate who was coaching my footy side that day for me.
Right.
And he rung me to tell me how it was going and how the kids went and all this. And then I was like, oh, I'm on. And he kept trying to talk to me. I'm like, mate, I've just stop, just wait. So he was trying to talk to me about it and I'm trying to concentrate on this fish and he's still rabbling on about how the kids played and how they didn't play and all this. But yeah, that was the last one there. That was pretty much a gift fish as we call them. So
yeah,
any fish that, is past 12 o'clock, we usually call them a gift fish because it's usually the way we see it anyway. If you don't get your fish in the first 3 to 4 hours, you're pretty much done for the day.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, they're always a good little gift when they come in.
Definitely. And what'd you hit that one on, the last one?
That was on a slim swim in green pumpkin.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's not a very popular colour anywhere, I don't think, but it's probably my go-to big fish colour in the Hopkins for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, wow.
It's caught a lot of big fish, so.
Yeah. Well, that's across the day there. Obviously, you must have been cycling through lures because you've got fish on different things pretty much all day.
Yeah, we sort of have, say, 3 plastics and maybe a couple of hard bodies rigged up, but Brownie hates fishing hard body, so he just had 3 plastics rigged up and he can't tie knots real well either, so the least leader knots he's got to tie, the better for him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, we just stick with what we're confident in and they wouldn't change too much between day 1 and day 2, or pre-fish and day 1, so we just stuck with what we knew.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. All right, let's have a look at the scoreboard. So you dropped 2.585. Where did that have you overnight?
I think we were 7th or something like that, or 6th or something.
Yeah, it was
5th maybe.
Yeah, it looked like 5 or 6 or something like that. Okay, so nice and close.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about day 2. Tell us how you went about catching your fish.
Yeah, so on Saturday night, I actually text Brownie and I said,
Yeah, okay.
mate, we're in with a chance here. I said, I'm confident. I reckon something's going on. And he texts back saying, you're on crack.
I like it.
Because of how tough it is. So he goes, nah, you got something wrong with you. And I said, oh, well, I think we're on. It's the closest we've ever been to doing well in here. And we've got second and third and stuff in here before. So he goes, all right, whatever. Yeah, so we headed back up to Sandy Point there. Again, there was only one boat in front of us, and then our mates Chris and Jack Allwood pulled up right next to us, which they fished there again on Saturday. And yeah, I reckon probably fourth cast, I had a legal, and yeah, we just started whacking them, and I think we had our bag by about 8 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah, so it was just a completely different bite. They were actually eating it that day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why, but...
And what were they liking on the Sunday? What lure did they pick?
The Sprat 85 all day.
Wow. In the sickle?
Yeah, in the sickle, yeah. So I think Brownie tried a few different things, but the sickle, yeah, in the 85 and also the 75, I tried a couple. And yeah, they were still eating that, not as well as the hybrid with the grub tail, but yeah, it was pretty good fun there at one stage. And then by about 9 o'clock, I reckon we didn't get another bite. So
really,
yeah, just something happened and they switched them off, and yeah, there's boats everywhere around us, and I reckon we only saw maybe Stu McKinnon catch one, and that was about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so just at the right time at the right place and show them what they wanted.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like, so your big bream went on day 2. Looks like it went 785. Is that right? Well, no, you said you had a bigger one.
Yeah, no, we had a bigger one in there, probably about 1100 or something.
Yeah, right.
We had a perch that was 785.
Ah, okay, the Rogue. That's what I was reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, Brownie got that one in the deep.
Nice.
So,
nice. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, so that was good.
Definitely. That's like, because you end up behind by 470 grams. You had a 1.1, which means one decent upgrade. You're there.
Yeah. So that first fish, or the fifth fish on the Saturday, just stuffed it for us, really. Like,
yeah,
we didn't need much to be right up there, but the old saying, everyone has these stories and that. So I'm sure Stewie and Baz sitting in third would be telling the same thing. They lost big fish as well on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, which would have put them up there.
Yeah, they would have jumped us for sure. And Stu's told me that too. He's let me know about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on the pre-fish, you said that you cast in tight. You had to get it cast in tight to get the fish.
Yep.
Was that the same on the Saturday?
Nah.
Up the top?
Nah, they wouldn't eat it in close. It was just nothing. We tried it for the first 45 minutes and hardly got a fish. So I just started shooting a cast out wide and started getting hits. And I said to Brownie, I said, no, I reckon they're out here active.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just moved out there, and it was just weird that there was feeding fish out deep, but there was no feeding fish in wide, in shallow there.
Yeah.
Which usually when there's schooling fish, there's feeding fish up on the edges, but yeah, there wasn't.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then on the Sunday, how was it? Was it the same? Were they up wide again, or were they in tight?
No, we didn't even look in tight on Sunday. We just went straight out, and yeah, we're fishing anywhere between 3.5 to 5 meters on the Sunday. But yeah, the big one I actually got it foul hooked. I cast out and I felt the line tick on the way down, and I struck, and I pulled it out of that fish and then pulled it in, and it was like slack for a bit, and then it was like thud, and I was like, oh crap, and it just howled off drag. And Brownie goes, that's not a bream, is it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what it is. And he goes, if that's a bream, that's a big one.
Yep.
Yeah, it was hooked under the chin. So
right.
Just, yeah, it's why you need good jig heads and strong, sharp jig heads, I suppose.
Exactly. And it still counts. As long as it goes in the bag, it's all good.
Doesn't matter how you hook them, does it?
Doesn't at all.
Uh-huh.
All right. And just so I can get a picture in my head of how that looks. So was there much current on the day?
No, the Hopkins has got no current. It was blocked.
Yep. Okay. So zero current.
Yeah, the water was super high as well, like so high that some of the guys that have got two boats, they brought their little tinnies down hoping to get under the bridge
Right.
down the bottom, and they couldn't even get under with like little duck punts, but virtually.
Right. Okay. All right. So if you're fishing the middle of the river, then are you just casting it out and then just hopping it back to the boat?
Just dragging it virtually.
Okay.
As soon as you lift it off the bottom, they couldn't or they didn't want it, so it had to be dragged along the bottom and just keep in contact with it. As soon as you had slack line, you could hardly get a bite at all. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, contact was very important.
Yeah. And did you find that you're using 1/12? That was enough to hold it on the bottom?
Yeah, I reckon probably at stages you could have fished an eighth just because of where we were fishing. Like there was no current or no snags or anything like that where we were fishing. It was just big open sort of plain bottom.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have mattered if it was digging up the bottom a bit anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have any 1/8s with us, so we didn't bother trying to find any.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, hey, especially while the fish are coming, you're not going to mix it up too much.
Nah.
All right. Lines and leaders, what were you running for the weekend?
Predominantly we fished 3-pound leader.
Okay.
So I'm a big one for just sensitivity. So I find that you can get a lot more sensitivity with a 3-pound leader, especially when they're finicky like they were, as opposed to, say, a 4 or a 5, which some people use.
Yeah.
No, we didn't lose any fish that weekend. So, and we chased mulloway on 3-pound leader and perch, like big perch and stuff. So I know what 3-pound can do. So I'm not real worried about it on the brim. But there's some days that you get the wrong school of brim and they just chew the lure all the way down and bust you off time and time again. But yeah, like we probably could have went 4-pound really. I know a lot of guys were fishing it, but I just like fishing 3-pound because I've got confidence in it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's about getting the bite and like you said, with the sensitivity of the thinner line is helpful.
yeah, and you just got to deal with it once you hook them. Like I'd rather put a hook in one and work out how to land it than not get a chance at it, and then there's no point having heavy leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you're running 3-pound, are you just tying an FG?
No, double uni I just use on them.
Really?
Yeah, so
Wow. So how many wraps are you doing each way?
I usually do about 7 or 8 on the braid and about 4 on the leader.
Okay.
I've just started tying the FG knot with 3-pound, but yeah, mainly 4-pound and up I use an FG knot. So
Sure.
I just find it grabs a little bit easier and better to tie that heavier stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that's very cool. All right. I think that covers the fishing part of it. Now, for second place, tell us what you won. Second place and the big rogue fish. What did you get to take home?
So second place, we got $1,650 between us.
No, very nice.
Yeah. So we got that. For the Miller Rogue fish, we got a Miller Rods Finesse Freak long cast rod each.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. A hat and some sun gloves. And then Steve Moore from the local caravan park down here in Warrnambool also donated $100 between us for the biggest perch.
Nice.
So that was very, very good of him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did all right.
Yeah, that's a great little prize pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Like I was still blown away by the Miller Rods prizes. That's just such a good thing for the rogue fish across the whole series.
Yeah, I think obviously Miller Rods has got the name behind him now, and nearly every single person that's fair dinkum about tournament fishing is using them now.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't use them myself because I build my own rods, but yeah, I've used them in the past, but
yeah.
So yeah, no, they're a good bit of kit.
Exactly, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so then in addition to those prizes, there's the GT Memorial Prize. Or trophy? Did you want to talk to me about that and run through what that is and how you guys went about getting that?
Yeah, so the Graham Taylor Memorial Trophy is just a trophy that Bill, the organiser, had thought about doing for a fella Graham Taylor from down our way here that was one of the pioneers in lure fishing for bream and estuary perch and the likes. And yeah, we lost him probably 9 or 10 years ago, I think it was. And it's just a trophy in his honour to biggest bag on the second day. So yeah, we were lucky enough to win that. And yeah, it was 2 years in a row that I've been a part of the team that won it. So that was pretty cool to do.
Yeah, that is very cool. And with a good bag too, 2.915 on the second day of a tough round, is pretty good going.
Yeah, we were just happy to get 5. And then, yeah, that bigger fish on the Sunday obviously beefed that right up. So always helps.
Yeah, definitely. All right, mate. Well, that's a great little prize grab for you guys across the board there. So I think that covers all of that. So one last thing before we head off, mate, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah. Firstly, I'd just like to thank Ed Richardson from work at Richardson Marine's Tackle Shack there. He puts up our entries every year. Obviously allows me to go away and fish these comps and never ask for anything in return apart from just our name. So, yeah, just like to thank Ed and the team out there. My wife for allowing me to focus on the comp. The old girl for taking my daughter for the weekend, having her for a sleepover so I can fish the comp and not have to wake her up in the early morning and take her away or wherever. And yeah, I think Brownie would probably want to thank his mum as well for looking after his daughter on the weekend that we fished. Obviously like to thank Brownie. Now, it's a pretty good thing having to fish with your best mate. We've been fishing together since we were, 12 or something like that, as we were kids down on the river at all hours of the night. So, we're 32 and 31 now, so it's pretty cool to be still fishing together, not killing each other. So
very good.
Yeah, it's always a good start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but apart from that, just thanks for yourself for putting us on the show and doing a great job with the show. Tune in every week, and
thank you.
I'm sure everyone gets a lot out of it.
Yeah, mate, it's been a great ride, mate. I appreciate guys like yourself that come on and share, which makes it all the better.
Yeah, well, if you're not sharing, you're not really doing anybody favours, are you? So
that's right.
Yeah, the hardest fish to catch is someone else's fish. So yeah,
this is true.
Yeah, share away, everyone.
Exactly. One more thing, mate. You said you're in the tackle shop. If someone wants to call in and say hello to you, whereabouts are you?
Yeah, so we're 1056 Raglan Parade in Warrnambool. So yeah, we got a little tackle shop out there with all your big brand Bream gear in it, and Garmin sounders, Garmin electrics, Minn Kotas, all your boating accessories, and Gill waterproof clothing and Yeti and stuff. So yeah, we got a fair bit of stuff in a little shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want, you can call us on the phone and we can send out orders that day for you. So yeah, all Vic Bream Classic teams for the whole season get 10% off store-wide.
Very nice.
So all they have to do is just call up and say that they're with the Vic Bream Classic, and yeah, I can either bring it down to the comps or I can post it out to you or whatever. So yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right, mate. Well, look, congratulations to both of you on your second place and all the other things. And yeah, like I said, hopefully we get to speak to you again before the end of the season.
Yeah, here's hoping, mate.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, so look, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayaks, or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are fully dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in store at shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. James offers free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all of Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. All right, so if you're looking at a more entry-level kayak, then I don't think you can go very far past the Hobie Passport 12 or the 10.5. Now, these are both coming in at under 2K. And in addition to that, James has got a couple of extra bonuses to go with that, particularly in the fishing area. So look, if you're looking to get into the market, you just want to have a crack. I've seen guys fishing in tournaments in these. Definitely worth a look. So look, get in touch with James. He'll tell you all about the specials he's got going on. And get yourself on the water in a Hobie. How good is that? hws.com.au. All right, so in first place, I have Team Daiwa dropping 5 fish on Saturday for 3.34 kilos, which included a big fish of 955 grams, backing it up on the Sunday with 5 fish for 2.63 kilos, giving them 10 for 5.97 kilos and the only 10 fish bag for the comp. I have Jesse Roten and Kate Callow. Welcome to the show.
How you going, Andrew?
Thanks for having us.
No worries at all. Listen, that was a great result for you guys. Like the biggest bag of the comp on the Saturday and then backing it up with 5 fish on the Sunday. Yeah, you must have been pretty pleased, I'd imagine.
Yeah, really happy with the result. I expected a few more fish to come through on the second day. That might push us out, but we were lucky enough that we managed to get our 5 and some of the other guys unfortunately didn't.
Yeah. Looking through the results, like I said, you were the only team to get 10 fish, and then the second and third place got 9 fish each and so on down the ladder. So just a testament to you guys of how you guys went in a tough competition.
Yeah, no, it was good. It is the kind of place where I think you got to keep at it, and if you're lucky enough, the fish will come, but there is a bit of persistence needed in places like the Hopkins.
Yeah, right. And for you guys, how much travelling is it for you?
3 hours, I reckon.
Yeah, it's not a long drive.
Right on 3 hours. So it's a nice cruisy drive.
Yeah, so not too far, but not your back door either.
Nah, not like going to Malakuta, or it's about 7 hours. So.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, well, let's get into the pre-fish. Did you guys get out and have a bit of a look around?
Yeah, we did. And we didn't take it too seriously. We just went out, tried to have a bit of fun, tried to learn a bit about the waterway and how it changes. Like, I try and get up there every now and again just to try and sharpen my skills up, just on Bream, not just in there, but across the state and the country, because there's quite often a lot of bream in there, but getting them to bite can be the challenging thing.
Right.
So we went out, had a bit of a look around, more or less looked at the water, maybe if there was a change in colour, the height and everything like that, and had a bit of a cast in some spots where we thought there might be some fish, and some of the spots produced nothing, and then some of the other spots we got bites but didn't hook the fish, and I think we ended up managing 1 or 2 fish, but we're pretty happy with how it looked.
Okay, and in terms of water colour, what was it like and what are you looking for? What's the ideal setup for you?
I don't really know what I was really looking for, but because there was a fair bit of recent rain and water coming down the river system.
The mouth was closed.
The mouth was closed and the river was getting higher and higher, and I wanted to see whether there was a lot of dirty water coming down, because where we did launch the boat at Deakin, the water was almost crystal clear, and I thought it would be the opposite way around. But the further we went up, the clearer it got, really. And I kind of like it where there's a little bit of a colour change, or where it's a little bit dirtier to try and disguise the lure or us. But it sort of changed a little bit as we got further upstream, but it didn't change a lot. And over the weekend, it actually got clearer and clearer in some of the spots, even though there was more and more water coming down.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. In setting up for this particular interview, I did the tides and all that sort of stuff. And on the Sunday, it was very confusing for me. We had a high tide at 7:11 at 0.68, a low tide at 9:15, so 2 hours later at 0.67, and then a high at 4:19 at 0.89. And none of that made any sense to me.
Yeah, you do get a lot of dodge and weird tides down on the west coast of Victoria.
Yeah.
Because the mouth was closed and the water was coming down, it just filled and filled and filled. And if anything, there was a bit of natural flow down the river.
Okay.
And I think it kind of helped throughout the day, because it was more not a traditional cycle in the tide. It was more just the natural flow that kept the fish chewing.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, let's roll around to comp day. Yeah, tell us how your day started and what you did to catch your fish.
Well, as per usual, the West Coast is also renowned for being quite cold and having some average weather, especially down on the Hopkins. It was quite crisp, but as the sun got up, got a little bit better.
Couldn't see where we were going initially. There was so much fog.
Yeah, there was
Really?
a lot of fog. And we weren't in any rush to go fast or try and get to the spot as quick as we could. We took our time, and when we actually got up to where we wanted to start, there was a couple of other anglers who had got there before we did. So we said, all right, here's as good as anywhere, and we'll hopefully, once those boats move away, we'll get up to where we wanted to have a look at, which was up the river system towards the Jubilee Park or Jubilee Reef system. And so we hung back, and like we were saying earlier, Kate put a cast out. I don't even think I had a lure onto the rod yet.
Right.
But she put a cast out, and just the next thing I heard was she was on. So I scrambled around, got the net, which was buried under tackle bags and rods and everything like that. And I said, oh, beautiful. Just take your time. We eased it into the net, and that was the first fish. And I think we were both a bit worried, but because it was the first fish on the first cast. But we didn't let it get to us, and we just thought if there's one there, hopefully there's a few more. And I think in the back of my mind, I stayed quite confident because I hadn't gotten to where I wanted or where we wanted to get to yet. So I was like, all right, that's a good start. You know, that's one to hold on to before we get to there. And the boats in front of us never moved. They sort of just stood their ground, and they were staying in that area. I said, oh, well, we'll just keep peppering this area. And we moved up a little bit more. And I think Kate caught another fish a couple of casts later.
Okay.
And I thought, this is really good, you know, like this is promising.
Yeah.
Still in the back of my mind thinking, I haven't got to the spot where I want to get to yet. You know, this is good.
Yeah.
And I looked up, and like a couple of minutes went by, and the boat still hadn't moved. And I thought, oh, well, I guess we're just going to be staying here for the rest of it. And I think
it wasn't long after the third one was.
Yeah, we got another fish, I think, within maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I think we got a couple of bites which we missed, and then we managed to get one more. I think I actually finally put a fish in the bag. And not huge fish, but fish that we're really happy to have, that was size and good way to start the day.
Yeah.
Then it sort of quietened up a little bit more. The boats did then start to move around a little bit. And we thought, all right, now's a chance, you know, to get our last two. We'll go over to where we caught the fish, or where I caught one of the fish the day before on the pre-fish. And we got there, and I don't think we got a bite.
Right.
And I thought that didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
So we kept moving around. We thought if we caught fish around the same area the day before, and we caught some fish earlier in a spot we didn't fish, that we'd just keep plodding along and we'd get a fish here or there. So we moved around, and I don't know if we eventually got a fish up there. I think we eventually moved our way back down the system. So we started to then go, all right, we'll work our way down, only slightly, not very far, and got down to it's almost like a bit of a mud flat that goes down with a bit of a drop off that the fish tend to school up in.
Right.
They can be a bit of a challenge. Like we had a pre-fish there roughly the same time last year, where we caught fish there on the pre-fish, went back there during the 2 days of the comp and could not catch another fish. So I thought maybe this year they'll bite during the comp times.
Yeah.
So we went back down there, and I think it didn't happen straight away, but I was casting around some of the bait junkie wave minnows and got a bite, and the fish took off. It felt like a slightly better fish, and eventually it made its way into the net, and we were quite happy with that. We thought just one more fish would be really good. And I think we went a little bit longer without getting another bite, and I thought, all right, maybe there's not heaps of fish, but just enough for us to get our 5.
Yeah.
So we did another drift. This time round we went a little bit deeper just to see if we could get those fish that were schooling up a bit more. We did that, nothing. And then out of nowhere, one just picked up the lure. I felt it pluck through the line, and the fish screamed off again.
Nice.
And we got that fish in, and I don't know if we landed another fish for the rest of the day.
Right. So 5 fish for the day. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember, but I know both days we didn't get many bites. It was just really the fish that we got. and we were lucky enough to make most of them stick, or nearly all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's just roll back through that. So Jesse, you got yours on the wave minnow. What hook do you have in them?
So I run them on a Bait Junkie jig head, size 2 hook. The only variance is the weight. So I usually rig up some heavier plastics for this place, especially because it's renowned for having a lot of wind. It's not actually a real deep place, but I like being able to get the plastic down or make longer casts and keep it down towards the bottom. The fish tend to feed more closely to the bottom in the Hopkins River. So I was throwing them later in the day as the sun got up a bit higher into those drop-offs on a 1/12 and a 1/8. But earlier on in the morning, when the wind was a bit lighter, Kate was using a lighter jig head. I think it was a 1/16, I think.
Yeah, 1/16.
Yeah.
And Kate, is that what you got your fish on in the morning? So you got two first up?
Yeah, 1/16 with the wave minnow. I think accounted for all my fish on that day that I caught.
I don't know. I keep thinking, I know on one of the days, I think it was
the
on
second day.
I did manage a couple on in-feet Kidachis, little small 40, I think they're 40 mil jerkbait from Dyer.
Yeah.
And they were, I'm pretty sure that was on the second day, but I think most of ours on the first day were on the wave.
Right. And with, so if I start with you, Kate, so I think you got the bigger fish in the morning, which was the first fish. Do you remember how you were retrieving that? Was there anything special, or was it just cast it out and it loaded up?
It was just kind of the way we've been probably fishing, or I've learnt to fish with Bream for a while. It was just cast out, let it hit the bottom, and then as retrieving, just twitching it along the bottom as you go, trying to keep in contact with the bottom, giving it a few hops every now and again and letting it pause. And actually with Hopkins doing it quite slowly seemed to be the trick for us at that point. But yeah, it was just within the first couple of winds, I thought I felt a bite and I struck. And yeah, hooked up and I'm just lucky to get that first one in.
Yeah, nice. All right. So for the day, you caught your 5 fish. You ended up, that was enough to give you 3.34, which was big bag for the competition. And I guess first place overnight as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good feeling, but it's not also a good feeling. One of the first comps I actually had, the first win I ever had was fishing with a mate of mine, Mark Hayes. And we were actually leading the day before on the first day of that comp, and I was nervous as hell, and he was probably more nervous than I was. And he said, "Oh, well, we can only go down from here." And yeah, ever since then, I'm like, I don't care what position I'm in, as long as I'm not in first.
Right, not overnight.
After that, it was a bit nervous, but we were around good people, and they kept the confidence rolling.
Yeah. One of the things that's hard about what's happened to you here is you've got big bag for the comp, you're in first place, but you only got 5 fish. So day 2, you're just not going to know. You're going to go, can we do it again?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I quite often have a few people say that same thing to me where they go, "You've had a really good day." I'm like, "Mate, I only had 5 bites for 7 hours of fishing. It was good. I'm happy with the result, but it wasn't as productive as you think it was."
That's right.
That's sometimes, you get guys who catch 30 fish and win a comp, and then you get guys who catch just their bare minimum of 5. So,
yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
All right. So with those nerves and what have you, what was your plan leading into day 2?
Just try and make a repeat on day 1. Not get carried away with believing there was one spot. Just being open to try different things. Like I was saying, after not being able to get to where we wanted to get on the first day in the first bit, it started to open up the rest of the river for me, which I always have faith in the whole river. The whole river is really productive.
Yeah.
But it didn't narrow it down. It just made me more open, or both of us more open to try different things, put casts out deeper maybe or shallower.
Yeah.
And just mix things up, we didn't get to fish where we wanted to first thing yesterday, and it worked out better probably.
Yeah.
So maybe we should do the same thing again. And I think it was a little bit slower on the second day we headed up. There was some boats trailing behind us, and I thought, maybe a few boats might drop in or might come a bit closer, but everyone was quite respectful. They gave us plenty of room. Everyone was as confident as we were to just put their lure in the river, and they knew with a landlocked river system that's only like 9K, they were within a chance of catching a fish. So we done the same thing and we put the lures out. It was a little bit quieter. I think we got a couple of estuary perch. And whenever I catch estuary perch in the column, especially if I didn't catch them the day before, I think, how have they made it to the lure without a bream eating this? The bream aren't biting. Maybe it's going to be a bit quieter today.
Yeah.
But we just stuck at it. The perch, every time we got a pluck, we thought, oh, this could be a bream, and it was a perch. Or we got a pluck, oh, it could be a bream, and it was a little bream.
Right.
But we knew maybe there was a shift in the tide. Maybe the fishing was delayed an hour later. You never know what's going to happen. So we just stuck it out and we said, maybe that other spot where we wanted to get to yesterday that didn't produce, maybe that might work today.
That's right.
So we kept at it. We moved down a little bit closer to that area, and I think Kate hooked a fish, and I thought, oh, this is really good. This is really good. The icebreaker, like it took a bit longer than we thought, but we were happy with that. And then I think I may have caught a fish a couple of casts later that was, I think, right on size or maybe just over the size. And I thought, look, I'll take it as long as it's legal.
Yes.
I wish it was like a centimetre bigger than what it is, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it gave us a bit of confidence, but it still was quite slow. Like it slowed down again after those two fish. We kept at it. And then out of nowhere, I think I was actually moving forward on the electric motor, and Kate put a cast out towards the back of the boat. And the next minute I hear, I'm on. And she's on, and I can hear the reel screaming away. And I thought, oh, this is really good. This sounds like a nice fish. And fish come up. It was dogging it out near the boat, but eventually made its way into the net. And we'll wrap with that. I thought, if we don't get another fish for the rest of the day, I'm quite happy because I've seen it go downhill on the second day in the Hopkins.
Yeah.
And we both wanted our 5 fish, but I thought just to get our 3, we've accomplished something, It's a lot better than I expected it to be.
Definitely.
So I said to Kate, you get the lure back out. I'll muck around with the fish. You're obviously catching a lot more than I am at the moment, so you do that. And I think might have been next cast or a couple of casts later, I hear that I'm on again. And I'm like, all right, this is good. But for some reason, the fish wasn't playing up like the other fish. And I've seen it happen over the years with some bigger fish that may be a little bit smarter, where they don't take a blistering run at the start. They just sit it out and shake their head, just trying to throw the lure out of their mouth. And when it happens, it scares the hell out of me because I've seen them do it, and I've said halfway through the fight, I'm going to lose this fish. And then a couple of seconds later, I've pulled the hooks.
Yeah.
And I said to Kate, maybe just back your drag off. The other fish we'd caught just previous to that were just hooked. And I thought, this is a big fish, and it's sort of, it's doing the right thing of what a big fish does. And that's not take too much line, just shake their head as violently as possible. And I didn't hear the drag get backed off, but I thought any minute now she'll back it off. I went down to grab the net. I've hopped back up, and just as I was about to hop back up, I hear Kate go, oh, no.
Yeah.
And I look up and I see the lure fly out of the water and back down into the water.
Oh, so it was close.
Yeah. And who knows?
Yeah.
You lose fish even when you think you've done the right thing. Whether it was the be-all and end-all, we'll never know. But it wasn't the best of feelings, especially when we thought every bite has to count. But we were quite confident in the same boat too that we got another fish, or Kate got another fish to bite quite soon after that other fish. So it gave us a bit of confidence.
Yeah, right. And what were you throwing on day 2? Was it the wave minnow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same, but I think when we were struggling, we went a little bit heavier. So we probably went back to the 1/12 and the 1/8 just because we felt like we couldn't get the bites on the lighter jig head. It felt like there was a bit more flow on the second day as well. So that was, and more wind.
I think the wind and the flow were actually going the same way on the second day, and that made it hard to keep the boat along the shoreline. We probably should have started up the wind and then drifted down, but I was a bit stubborn. I sort of started down the wind and worked my way up along the edges and along the mud flats and stuff like that. But we sort of had to get the cast up a bit higher than we thought. So that's why we put on a slightly heavier head. There wasn't as much belly and wind blowing on the braid, so we could be in more contact with the lure.
Yeah, right. Okay. So I've got here you're on your fourth fish. How'd the last one come?
So the last one, wait, was it fourth fish?
No, we only had three.
No, we had three and we dropped that fish.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Yeah. So we dropped that fish. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was our third.
Yeah, we had three and we dropped the fourth.
Yep.
And then we moved.
I said, all right. A part of me didn't really want to move too fast because I thought today's the day to try and make the most of what we have right in front of us. If we got some fish here yesterday, we've got some fish here today, maybe we shouldn't be going down to that flat or going down a bit further down or moving around and second guessing ourselves.
Yeah.
Stick it out in this area a bit longer. And I tried, and we both were casting, and it got quieter and quieter. And the thought of relying on that one other area that we thought we might catch a fish on, I tried to put it out of me, and I tried to say, look, there's plenty of water in between where we were at Jubilee Park and King's Head, the area around, I think it's King's Head, Rowan's Lane, that area in between there, that we could find maybe a fish in between or maybe find a new area. So we drifted our way down. Rather than getting on the motor and driving down, I just said, we'll just drift our way along the banks and cast out in the deep, one cast out in the shallows.
Yeah.
And see if we can find another pattern, just something to get our last two fish. And we got down to a rocky edge, which was probably the most rock we fished for the weekend. We probably focused more on where it went from rock to mud or mud and reeds before that.
Okay.
But there was a bit of rock, and we do catch a fair few fish on the rocky edges at times. So I thought, what do I like throwing into the rock that's not going to get me snagged as often?
Yeah.
So I picked up an in-feet Kadachi.
Oh, yeah.
And started casting that along the banks. And I think a couple of casts in, it looked promising, but the water was so high that all the edges, all the area where we'd normally fish with the hard-bodied lures were probably about 1.5 meters, if not 2 meters under the water.
Right.
So I was like, hang on, is this the best maybe technique? Because I'm getting the lure down to where the lure would, or
Hit
to
the
where
surface.
where the lure would be on the surface of the water. But there was a couple of rocks that are usually hard to fish that were now covered in water, or that were usually a bit too shallow to fish. So I focused in on those areas that were usually a bit shallow to fish, but now we're in a good depth of water. And put a cast out. I think I twitched the lure down, and I think I felt a little bit of a pluck. Like it's a weird feeling on a hard-bodied lure. Usually you expect the fish to just take it and run, but it was almost like using a soft plastic in a way. I felt the pluck, and then I struck on the fish and wound the fish in as hard as I could. Like, I don't know, it was just like nerves trying to get the fish in as quick as I could. But had the fish coming in right at the boat, it started darting around, and I thought, it's not a giant, but I just hope it stays on. And it come up to the surface, then went back down, come up to the surface, went back down. And I thought, it's not even that big, just come up. Please go into the net. And I was nervous as hell. And yeah, eventually Kate slipped the net under, and that was our fourth fish. And I thought, this is such a good feeling. Like, if we could get one more, we're in with a good chance.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of casts later, I cast the Kadachi back out again, and the rock wall was like coming to an end. It actually went from rock to mud, which is quite often a good area in the Hopkins where it transitions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, probably here's my last chance to catch one on this Kadachi. Please go out where I need it to go. Don't let the wind blow it up onto the trees or into a rock or whatever. And it went perfectly.
Right.
And twitched the lure down, twitched it down, paused, twitched it down again. And I went to go twitch it again. And I probably have a little bit more confidence with hard body lures than I do with plastics. I can fish both of them quite well.
Yeah.
But when I fish hard body lures, they come as like a second nature, you know, like they feel right to me.
Yeah.
I twitched the lure down and it went slack. And I thought, that usually means one thing. A fish has got it in its mouth and it's swimming towards me.
Yeah.
So I went to like twitch it again and it was even more slack. I was like, something's all right. Yep. Wait. And I'm yelling and talking, saying, get the net, get the net. And I hadn't even come tight on the fish. Next minute I come tight and the fish takes off. And I thought, yep, I'm on. Quick, get the net. And I reckon the fish took a dive. And I don't know if I had my hand on the spool, but I might as well have. I literally kept whining and whining, and the fish's head hit the surface, and it was literally skipping in towards the net. And I thought, just stay on, just stay on, just stay on. And Kate slipped the net under, and we got our 5.
And that was your 5.
Yeah.
And it was such a relief. It was such a relief. I thought, this is so good. Like, I was confident that we would catch a couple of fish, but to get 5 would be a big mission. And I was really happy with that result. I think we were both sort of a bit lost for words.
Yeah, we were stoked to have the 5. We were happy with 3, so to get the 5 was really good considering the caliber of people we were fishing against in the tournament. It made a big difference.
Yeah, and I had that in the back of my mind, you know, the other guys, that if we could manage our 5, so, like, there's a lot of good anglers in these competitions that someone else has probably got their 5 too.
Yeah.
But we thought we've done as much as we thought we could do, you know, like all what we didn't think we could do at the start of the day.
Yeah.
So it was a good feeling, and we had a little bit of time left, and we thought, all right, let's make our way slowly, or keep making our way down the river system. And when we get to the flat, we may be able to get an upgrade fish, you know, like when we're getting down to the area we fished the day before. So we got to the flat, and I didn't give up on it. Like, part of me was satisfied, but I thought if we could get one more, maybe it might make the difference at the end of the day. So we fished it quite hard, fished it. Not much was happening. It was getting quieter. People were moving around a bit more, and I thought, I don't think we're going to get one. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get another fish, but we sort of stuck at it. I can't remember if we ended up getting another fish after that. I think actually Kate might have.
Yeah, I think you had a bite.
I had a
run. You had a run.
I had a bite. Same thing. Fish plucked the lure, and I thought, I'm on here. Like, every time a fish has plucked the lure during this event, I've thought, you know, I've got this fish in the net. Before I've even taken a strike, got it in the net. And the fish automatically screamed off, and I thought, oh, this is a nice fish. And a couple of seconds later, done that violent head shake, and the lure come free. And I thought, what can you do?
You can't.
What can you do? You know, I'm grateful to get our 5. That fish may have been what pushes us over the line at the end, but we'll never know.
Yeah.
And then I think Kate, a couple of casts later, managed to upgrade one of the fish. She caught a fish.
Upgrade your adjuster.
Yeah, there was one fish that was the one that was just oversized.
And it wasn't like it was a big upgrade. It was maybe a couple of centimetres more, but we'll take it. It might be the difference.
It was more convincing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't need the ruler, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I want to go back to a technical question. So when you guys got the 5th and the 10th fish in the boat, what was the celebration like? Is there any dancing or anything like that?
Well,
probably a high five, and that was about it.
Yeah, I think we wanted to celebrate, but there was a few, like the Hopkins, you're renowned to see or be around other boats.
Sure.
So I don't think we wanted to give too much away.
I think there's very much talking under our breath.
Yeah, just in case we thought if we do another run over that edge, maybe we might be able to have it to ourselves. So I think we were kind of lost for words. And I've been in a lot of competitions where you land a nice fish or you think I've got a good bag happening. But I think it was the first time I thought, I don't know what to say. Like, we went out there targeting 5, but we knew that it might not happen.
Yeah.
You know that every day, but especially day 2 on the Hopkins River, you think, you know, if anyone could donut, it could be us.
And we've had a few lean runs at the Hopkins, the 2 comps previous. It was tough on the second day.
Yeah, so we kept that in the back of our mind, but we there's one thing that keeps me going in the Hopkins, and that's, especially if it's landlocked, there's 9Ks of river, they've got to be in there.
Yeah.
So just keep at it.
That's it. It's pretty good going to fill your bag, I reckon. One thing you reminded me of many years ago, I had a reel that I used to like for that sort of situation where there was people around and you didn't really want people to know that you were catching fish, but the clicker had gone off it. So when the drag run, there was no noise and it was gold because you could have 5 guys around you and no one would hear you on a fish. So
yeah, my mate Mark Hayes he's got a couple of reels that have quiet drag systems. Nothing's wrong with the drag clicker. They're just the finesse old school dial reel. And he calls it the spooky drag because no one even knows you're on. So good thing to have there.
Exactly. All right, let's just do a quick run through of lines and leaders and what have you for the comp.
So lines, we were running J-Braid Expedition and J-Braid Grand. In the J-Braid Grand, we were running 8-pound J-Braid Grand, which is in the island blue colour.
Okay.
And I think the jerk baiting rod or the hard body rod I was using had the J-Braid Grand on it.
Okay.
And then for the plastics fishing, we had the J-Braid Expedition, which is a bit finer, a bit more round, and that was in a 10-pound. So the 10-pound is roughly the same sort of, or close to the same sort of diameter in those two braids. So, yeah, that was what we're running as our main lines. And then leaders, we were running 4-pound and 5-pound J-thread X-Link leader.
Yeah.
I use 5-pound, especially around the rocks when I'm fishing the jerk baits, because the fish generally hit it and run. I like to have a little bit of heavier line there to muscle the fish out if a fish does go along the rocky edges. But for the plastics fishing, I'm pretty sure it was all with the 4-pound.
Yeah.
We may have had a couple of rods rigged up with 3, but I think most of them come on 4-pound.
Yeah, okay. And take this for what it's worth. I was surprised. I thought with your Kadachi that you would have been on straight through.
When I'm fishing jerkbaits, especially in open water or even along rocky edges, I like to use a bit of light, or I don't use straight through as such. I'm not really one for straight through.
Yeah.
I'll tend to run longer fluoro leaders.
Yeah.
So way longer than you'd usually run them. And that's my straight through. Pretty much.
Okay. That's your...
Yeah, when I'm fishing close, especially close proximity fishing, casting into structure, I don't really use those longer leaders as much. But if I was running the lures along those edges and maybe paralleling fish, then I may go with those longer leaders. But when I'm throwing the Kadachi, especially into those banks, the lure's quite often in the zone for only a couple of seconds anyway.
Sure.
And then it's back to the boat. So we weren't getting massively long casts, but like generally if I was fishing open areas or flats and stuff like that, then the straight through I reckon makes a massive difference.
Okay.
But we're doing a lot of twitching with our lures, especially with the jerk baits, and a lot of pausing. So I think the fish get a better chance at grabbing the lure, whereas if we were doing a straight retrieve or a slow roll, I think the straight through really does stand out for some anglers.
Yeah, interesting. With the lures that you use were the Kadachi and the wave minnow. What colours were you running?
Bloodworm was in the wave minnows. That was probably the best colour. And in the Kadachi's, Ghost AU, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Ghost AU. I know the lure, but I just want to make sure that the colours are right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Ghost AU, which is a nice natural sort of greeny colour. And there's a lot of little bait fish that linger around the rocky edges and mud flats in the Hopkins. And that's where I like that lure, to try and match the hatch with those.
Yeah, nice. All right. I think that's a really, really good rundown of the fishing. You went back, you came first. What do you guys get to take home for first place?
So we got back to the weigh-in. I was actually a little bit nervous, but I thought the other boys will have their 5. And some other anglers who didn't do quite as well were sort of searching around, asking a few people on how they went. And a couple of guys came over and said, I think you guys have got it. And I said, we don't know until the comp's over, We won't know until the comp's over. But, we're happy to get our 5. Whatever happens from here is what it'll be. So we weighed our 5 fish in, and we actually got to speak to some of those other anglers, and they unfortunately didn't get their 5.
Mm.
And we thought we'd done really well. I would have put my money on those anglers before us. But to get our 5, we didn't think that we were better than them, but we thought we were just about up to their ability to catch fish. So it was a really good feeling to know that those 2 fish or a couple of extra fish made the difference. So we got back. Eventually, we went through the presentation, and I still didn't believe it even when he called us up, Bill, at the end. But we went up and, we received, I think it was 2,800.
Wow.
I no longer have that, or my share of that. Mine went back to IOUs, back to Mario Vukic. So
okay.
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate got to claim her prize. So, it was good.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's a pretty tidy little win there. All right. One more thing before we head off. Is there anyone or any people that you want to give a shout out to?
Bill for running the event. He always puts on a really good show. The mates that we stay with up there, they're always good fun. They keep us in the game. A mate of mine, Rob Warren, he always sends me plenty of messages, and Mike Newman as well, sends us plenty of messages and did so the night before, giving us that bit more confidence that we were probably seeping, knowing that we were in first position. So they kept us there and kept our head in the game.
Yeah.
Probably Daiwa. They've always been a massive supporter of myself and also to the team. Minn Kota and Hummingbird. I use their electronics as much as I can. I'm probably not as far into technology as some of the other anglers, but it makes a difference, especially in these places where there's a bit of wind, bit of current, or you're not sure if there's fish underneath the boat. You get to sort of keep an eye out, see the depths change, and keep in the zones. And probably my workplace, Collier Fishing and Locksmiths in Melbourne, for giving me the time and getting down there and, always giving us plenty of support.
Right. So am I right in understanding that you can go in, get yourself a couple of lures and get your keys, get a couple of new keys?
Yep, you can get it all in one.
Right.
Yeah. There also is a little bit of homeware in there as well, but I try and stay out of that section.
Right. Well, there you go, mate. If they could serve coffee, mate, that'd be pretty awesome.
We do coffees. We're renowned for making pretty good coffees there too.
Well, there you go. There's a one-stop shop. Where is this place, mate?
In Sunshine, Melbourne.
Yep.
265 Hampshire Road in Melbourne.
Well, there you go. Grab yourself a couple of lures and a coffee and get your keys recut. How good's that?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Look, hey, congratulations to you guys. Sorry it's taken a little bit to get back to this one. Yeah, congratulations. It was a great win. Only team to get 10. You got the big bag. You got it all going on. So well done. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having us. I really appreciate it. It was good fun.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. All right. So there you have it, everybody. Another 3 great interviews. Particularly appreciative to all these guys for jumping on and recording the interviews. Great to chat. In other news, I want to round out a couple of things. So anyone that's been listening to the show for a while would know that I did buy the ice bath a while ago. Now, this is pretty embarrassing, but the ice bath is dry. As it turns out, I had nowhere proper to set it up. I thought I'd be able to set it up on my balcony, but it was about 100 mil too big. So, yeah, I guess I've got an ice bath if anyone wants to buy one. Having said that, I've jumped over to cold showers because they reckon they're about 80% as good or 90% as good. So I've definitely done that. In terms of yoga, like I said, there's heaps going on. I started the 40-day challenge with Jamie. That's at Sacred Soul Wellness. And if anyone wants to get involved in that, you can still jump on and join in the fun. And we're definitely going to run it again. But trying to do fit in the yoga every day is definitely a challenge. But I think after 40 days of it, I think there'll be a definite benefit. Anyone else that's in the show and wants to jump into the studio at Sacred Soul, get onto the socials and have a look or get in touch with me and I will hook you up. And the other crazy thing that I've done is a bit of a sucker for this sort of stuff is Jamie, my daughter, she's taken on a challenge with relation to Ned Brockman, who's a young fella who's done some charity runs and what have you. Definitely jump on there. It's a great cause if you want to contribute there. But I think it's called the Hard Challenge. So the Hard Challenge is you pick something, best I can tell, you pick something hard to do for 10 days. So Jamie picked running, and I thought, you know what? I'm probably not a runner at this point, but I'm definitely going to have a crack. So I've been walking 5Ks a day since I got back from Cooter a couple of days ago, which was all well and good, except for the day when my Strava account changed to miles. And I don't know, it was about 4 miles in or 3 miles in because it's there and back. And I realized it was in miles. So I ended up walking 8Ks that day. Yeah, so that's equally been a challenge. And look, aside from the collective, so if anyone's listened to the show, the collective show, about what that's about, part of it is I'm going to donate for every membership, going to donate just $1 to the Fly program. And I'm happy to say that a couple of weeks back, I sent that first little payment off. I'm hoping to get that up to a much more substantial number. So with every member, there's just a little bit more for the Fly program. So yeah, I want to say thanks to the guys that joined up, and we're all contributing to make things just a little bit better. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this show. I will talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.